Hi, how you doing? This is Jose David, marriage counselor, and today we'll be talking about the book Stop Your Divorce Dead in Its Tracks, chapter 9, which is Why Do We Do This to Ourselves? Which is a very good question. When you're in a relationship that's in crisis and you start talking to some people around you, a lot of people will question you, why haven't you left? Why are you still with that person even though they're treating you that way? You're met with a lot of people that doubt what exactly are you doing in your relationship or what's really happening, why are you fighting for it. And a lot of times it's because we have this idea in our head that we had a good relationship before, we love each other, or I still love my spouse or partner, or I know my spouse or partner still loves me. And we get so trapped in that idea and that thought process that everything else that's going on around it and all the other behaviors that our spouse or partner or even the behaviors we're engaged in have little to do with that reality that we're telling ourselves. We make excuses for ourselves, we make excuses for our spouse or partners, and we're hurting, we're in pain, we're not enjoying our time in this relationship, but we continue to talk to ourselves and tell ourselves, oh, well, if I just hang on long enough, he or she will, change their mind, will come back, will go back to what it used to be. A lot of times it's not that simple. A lot of times there needs to be a very, significant change in the relationship and how the relationship's dynamics functions for this to happen. And some of the examples we have in the book, will illustrate this. As some of you have children, some of you know of children around you that will constantly test situations and will get hurt regardless of how many times we tell them that it's going to happen to them. And a lot of times they just need to go through the process. It's a learning experience, and a lot of times it shows us how humans behave. We'll do things over and over again, even though we know we'll get hurt because of the idea or because we think things are going to go differently if we try it again. And so, another example is a man that will ask for directions. He will not ask for directions. He is this independent person, and he believes in himself. He believes he can get anywhere, and he doesn't need anybody's help. And a lot of that is pride, but a lot of that is also believing in one's capability. But that gets us in trouble sometimes because we might waste too much time trying to get to where we're supposed to be going, and we might hurt people around ourselves that because we believe this so adamantly that even if other people see it around us and don't believe it, it might end up hurting ourselves and our relationships. Another example is you're in an amusement park and the ride that you've been in line for an hour breaks down and they tell you to come back in 2 hours, it'll be fixed. So there's a dilemma. What do? Do you stay around the 2 hours just because you've already invested so much time and and so much effort in staying in line, or do you go and enjoy other rides and come back in 2 hours? A lot of times we will stay there just because we've invested so much, and relationships are like that. We sometimes have invested so much of ourselves, so much time. We have things in common or things that we share. Shared responsibilities are a big one, either kids or investments or real estate. And we believe that we have this ultimate goal, which is we started this and we might as well finish it together. A lot of times that that pressure or those stories get in the way of us being happy or making our spouse or partner happy because we're so focused on those stories we tell ourselves. So some people will stay at that ride regardless, and that's just the way they think, and they're so committed that they will stay there and they will ride that ride no matter what. And other people will go and explore and will take a chance of not being able to take that ride again, but maybe they will have fun at some other rides in the park. So you really need to think about how we conduct ourselves in our lives with those two, in that dilemma that is easily applicable to real life. And a lot of times, these thoughts are normal. They're not, out of the ordinary. But a lot of times they're not very productive. They're counterproductive because they allow us to continue to be stuck in situations or ways that we act. A lot of times we feel so self-righteous about how much we've given to this relationship that we believe we deserve all of these other things. And a lot of times we tell this to ourselves so much. We tell ourselves that we should expect this or that from our spouse or partner, and that's what's driving them away. That we become this person that's so needy, that has all these expectations. We're not, an independent person that is part of the relationship, but we just demand so much of our spouse and partner, and that kind of wears our spouse or partner down. It really affects, the dynamic of the relationship and how attractive you can be when you're being this needy person. And you end up suffering, which is not what we want, but we get in this cycle, in this loop, and we get stuck in not being happy. And so it's very hard for us to release ourselves from this thought process, but we invite you with this book that hopefully you'll be able to see through some of the things you've been telling yourself and some of the things that have set you up to be in trouble in your relationship because of all the expectations that you have that are unrealistic, for being needy or clingy, or for putting so much into a relationship, so much commitment and involvement that will get you in trouble. So in the next couple of chapters we'll be discussing how to improve on some of the dynamics that you engage in. Thank you.